Hey everyone, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to be giving my non-spoiler review and a little bit of discussion on the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie. So I went to go see it last night with my mom, and I just want to say this was way, way better than Snow White. I gotta admit, this is gonna be one of my top 3 favorite live-action remakes. My mom was telling me when we were in the theaters wait during the credits, and we thought maybe there might have been a post-credit scene, maybe for a sequel if they decide to make a sequel. But honestly, there isn't, unfortunately, but there is a mid-credit scene in this movie, and it really is a mid-credit scene, like not like in the mid of the mid-credits. So honestly, it was a very, very well done movie, and I gotta admit, they did change some things that I was very surprised that they changed in. I was very surprised that they took out one specific character from the animated movie, and this character did not make an appearance at all. But to my surprise, I actually didn't really miss that character. I know that some of you guys will be knowing who I'm talking about when I get to it, but I personally felt like he was just like a side character that later on down the road, I know he becomes important when it comes to the Lilo and Stitch animated series. And I'm not sure about like those in the animated movies like Stitch Has a Glitch, or Stitch the Movie, or Leroy and Stitch. But what's interesting about this one is that they pulled a Mufasa, from what I've seen. Now I haven't seen Mufasa yet, but what I saw from this one is that they reference things from the animated series. They reference things from Stitch Has a Glitch. They reference things from Stitch the Movie and Leroy and Stitch, which is very surprising to me because I was not expecting for them to actually do so. I thought that they were just going to leave it as it is. What I am very happy about is that they're actually finally addressing these animated direct-to-video sequels and animated shows. And I'm glad that they are, because from what I was told about Mufasa is that it does reference things from Simba's Pride, from one and a half, from Lion King 1.5, from even the Lion Guard series, which to me is actually an incredible thing to do. So I am very happy with the product that Lilo and Stitch gave, because I think that what's great about it is the fact that they kept it at the exact same story, but unlike movies like Aladdin, or The Little Mermaid, or Beauty and the Beast, those live action remakes, they're all great in my opinion. But I felt like this one really did something to where it felt like, yes, it's outside of the Renaissance era, but I think what it did was it added to the story the more essential parts of what makes Lilo and Stitch the iconic animated movie of what it is. And for me, what I felt like what they added was that they added more of the family element. And I think that's what made me drawn to it a lot more. I think when they made Lilo and Stitch, I knew that this was going to be family centered. And what I also felt like was what made this a whole lot better than what other Disney live action remakes sometimes fail to do is that what they tend to do is that they tend to make these animated live action remakes, they tend to make it more for the adults. They do it for kids, yes, but they more do it for the kids. They do it more for the adults who grew up with the movie. And I think that what Lilo and Stitch does a whole lot better than a lot of these live action remakes is that they made it for the kids. I feel like the writers, they knew exactly what they were doing in terms of that they were wanting to make a movie where, since it is a movie about family, or ohana, it really takes the concept of family and taking it to the next generation by ensuring that it keeps the same exact atmosphere as the original, and making it more for children than it is for the adults. It's comical, it's goofy. The CGI, it gets a little weird from time to time, but I like the fact that it does get weird from time to time. I think the CGI that they used during the opening scene, with it literally starts out the same exact way as the original animated movie, but to me it was a little weird. But I think it was purposefully done in a sense where it feels like it's cartoonish and it's comical. And I think it's right that it doesn't feel exactly correct. I'm glad that they animated Stitch. I'm glad that they made Stitch feel like an alien, like what you would say like the alien rabid dog that, he starts out as. I'm glad that, later on he gets humanized like in the animated movie. I'm definitely doing a revisited reaction to the live action remake because this one in particular really had me excited. This one made me laugh, it made me cry actually. It made me cry a few times because of the fact that it did speak to me a little bit, especially growing up. A couple of things that were said in there made me feel like my grandmother was talking to me again. And I remember that I used to watch Lilo and Stitch as a kid, and I used to play it on VHS. My mom said that we saw it in the theaters when I was a kid. I was 3 years old when that movie came out. I don't remember. So me watching the live action remake at 25, but remembering watching it on VHS as a kid made me feel nostalgic. It made me feel like I was a kid again watching a Disney movie in the theaters. It really made me feel like these writers, this crew who put this movie together did an outstanding job on making it feel as authentic as possible. The action was kept to a minimum to a degree, but I think they did it for the kids because they didn't want to scare the kids. And I love the fact that Stitch did not look overly animated. Like overly animated is to like in a realistic sort of way. They did not have a Sonic the Hedgehog problem. Sonic, when it came out back in 2020, and when they had the look of it in 2019, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history lesson in case if some of you guys don't know of the history behind the Sonic the Hedgehog live action movies. Sonic, when they released the official teaser trailer for the first movie back in, I believe it was October of 2019, what they did was that they made him weird, like weirdly realistic, and it was awful, awful, awful. Literally, the internet bullied Paramount to go and reanimate Sonic. They had to push the release date back. Actually, no, this wasn't in. Actually, maybe this wasn't in October. I think maybe this might have been like August or September of 2019. I don't even remember. I actually don't even remember. This movie was supposed to come out in November 2019. They ended up pushing it to Valentine's Day of 2020 before COVID hit and everything just started going the way that it was. And I think it was such a smart move that the internet was very, very vocal about Sonic's design and they redesigned Sonic. What I like the fact is that to me, Lilo and Stitch is Disney's modern Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, so this is Disney Sonic the Hedgehog because not in the terms of that they were trying to, like the internet was bullying, or not even bullying, but pushing the studio to reanimate Sonic. But I mean in terms of having, these CGI animal creatures or aliens and literally having for these humans to organically interact with these CGI models. And I wonder if they use stand-ins, which I think that they did. But I think what they did, what the great thing about it is the chemistry. The chemistry between the actors felt genuine. It did not feel fake. It felt real. I love the fact that with this movie, we got this amazing cast, which I felt did incredible. I might mispronounce a few names, so forgive me if I do. The breakout star, Maya Kealoha, as Lilo was incredible. She did an incredible job at playing Lilo. I thought that she was Lilo. I thought that she knocked it out of the park. If this is her, which I feel like it is, if this is her film debut, I'm going to give it to her straight. You did an incredible job, miss. I think that you did incredible as not only as just playing Lilo, but you play Lilo to the point where I really felt like my childhood was back. I felt like I was watching the animated movie all over again. And you did an incredible job at maintaining that same spirit and that same energy that Lilo went and emulated from the original one. And Devay Chase, the original voice actress for Lilo, honestly, I think that she'd be proud. I think she would be automatically proud because I really, really feel like this was the animated movie that, when getting turned into a live action remake, got translated well. I felt like also, of course, Chris Sanders back as the original voice of Stitch. He was the original voice of Stitch back in the 2003 movie. Being back as Stitch in 2025 was incredible. And you know, the great thing about it that I liked is that they reused a few lines of the original audio files from the original animated movie, and they used it for two certain scenes in the beginning and in the end of this movie, because I think that Chris Sanders did an incredible job at the original, that I think that they just wanted to keep those exact same ones for the live action movie. And you know what? I think that some people might complain about it if they've seen this movie multiple times, but because I saw it recently, and also my reaction for the animated Lilo and Stitch is up on my YouTube channel right now, if you guys want to check that out, I think that it was a really well done piece on their end, on Disney's end, for them to keep it exactly at that tone, because I don't think that it needed to be redone. I think it was perfect the way that it was done. And I'm so glad that it was kept in this fashion, because of the fact that, you know, Chris Sanders did an incredible job voicing Stitch. He did an incredible job voicing Stitch. And I think that with the additional stuff that was added to the live action remake, I think that it really elevated the movie in a way where it didn't feel like it dragged. This movie was only an hour and 48 minutes. But the original animated movie was about an hour, 29 minutes. And I gotta give it to Disney, because when they did that for Snow White, I was nervous because they changed a lot of Snow White dramatically to a point where I felt that I think Snow White, in that case, they overdid it with changing the movie. They overdid it, and it just didn't feel right. But with Lilo and Stitch, they kept the exact same story. They added more to Nani's character, which I'm going to say Sydney Elizabeth Aguadong. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, Sydney, but you did an incredible job as Nani. I think that you and Maya had a very, very believable chemistry amongst each other as sisters. And I think it played it off very, very well. It didn't make me feel like it was two actresses just acting as sisters. I literally genuinely felt like you two were sisters. And that's what I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel the chemistry between you guys. I think that there also were other standouts besides just, you know, you, Maya, and Chris as the main leads of this movie. I thought Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson as Jumba and Pleakley, both of you guys did an incredible job. I like the fact that they went back and forth in between the human form and their alien form. I think the way that they did it was a very smart choice, because I felt like it was a better way of having to maintain their secrecy of the mission of trying to just capture Stitch. I think that what they did with that is a smart move in terms of sci-fi movies, because I think what the animated movie did was that, you know, it was just out of nowhere. I'm surprised that nobody really thought about, you know, like, I'm surprised that nobody really caught on in the animated movie about that they were aliens, especially because they didn't really hide it super, super well. And especially Pleakley, because he has the one eye, and then Jumba, it's a little bit easier with Jumba, but on the same time, he has 4 eyes, so it doesn't make things easier. I think it was a lot better that they went and used them as human forms. I saw somebody on the internet that said that they were only as aliens for like 99% of the movie. From what I saw, that's actually, for me, it was more like they had them about aliens for about not 99%, like only 1%. I want to say about 20% of the time they were aliens, but then they were humans in the other 80%. Probably a lot more. I'm probably going to say 75-25. Let me put it like that, because you have to understand that this is a mission that they're on, and they don't want to blow it, especially because they're aliens, and I think it does an incredible job at being self-aware about that. I like that they were aware about that, and they did change it for the better in story elements, and I think that that's what sells it for me more, because I think that if they would have kept them as aliens throughout the whole entire movie, I think it wouldn't have worked. I think that I would have been upset thinking, how do you not see in front of you that these people or these aliens are aliens? How do you not see it? But I'm glad that it was shown that they actually maintained their alien form, and it was a great decision. It was a great decision that they were shifting in between cloaking themselves as humans and shifting in between human and alien form. I think they did an incredible job with that. Zach Galifianakis, the only thing that I would say about him is that he doesn't have that Russian accent that the original version of Lilo and Stitch's Jumba had. At first, it didn't really settle with me, but then I started getting used to it, and I ended up enjoying his performance more. The more that it progressed, I wish that they would have kept his Russian accent, but I think with the way how times are, I can understand. Billy Magnuson as Pleakley was hilarious. He was funny to an unbelievable point that I was laughing so hard with his character. He sold it to me as Pleakley, both in voicing him and also, playing him in his human form. And honestly, I think that he was one of the funniest characters out of here. I loved Courtney B. Vance as Cobra Bubbles. I know Ving Rhames was the original voice actor for Cobra, and yeah, he could have played him. But to me, I think Courtney did a pretty good job as well as Cobra. I think that he made the character his own while also trying to, keep in the same spirit and same reign as Ving Rhames. And I think that they both did incredible on playing Cobra. I'm glad that they went a little bit more with the interesting subplot, or at least the old job that he used to have in the animated movie, and they kind of brought that more into the live action one, which it actually made more sense in the live action one than in the animated movie. And I think that they did a good job on doing so. They did some changes which I personally found better in the live action movie than they did in the animated one. And over time things change, you gotta adapt. But I think that what this one does is that they address probably some of the issues that maybe does not work in the live action remake today, or in an animated movie if it was done today, and they changed it to where it flows better. And I'm glad that they addressed that. I really am glad that they did address that, and it felt like a natural movie. It didn't feel like I was having to nitpick at anything. I also feel like not only we had really great standout performances from them, I also feel like Hannah Waddingham as the grand councilwoman, I think she did great. I think she did awesome. I think that it felt like just like the original one. Not much to say, especially because I think that they added a little bit more to her character than they did in the animated movie, which I am glad about that, because that they did take out a specific alien character from in this one. So they had to then distribute his character out a little bit to, for the other alien roles to be filled out a little bit more, which is what I also feel like is what made it better in my opinion. I mean, I wish if they are going to do a second one, I hope that maybe they bring this character back for the second one, which would be nice, but we'll definitely see how it goes. I also feel like those who also join in the cast, like, I mean, we also have Kayapo Dodoy as David, which I think he did great. He was hilarious in this one. David was great in the animated one, but I felt like this one, they made him more of like, as a comedic relief character that, in my opinion, it broke the tension. Like, it was the right amount of comedic relief. They didn't overdo it. They didn't undersell him. I think it was just about right. They added some new characters, which honestly I was okay with. They added some new characters. Tutu, which was their is Lilo and Nani's neighbor, which was played by Amy Hill, which she voiced originally Mrs. Hasagawa in the original Lilo and Stitch. I thought she was an incredible addition. She was funny. She was hilarious. I thought, I want to see more of her if we get an anime, like a live action sequel, or maybe even a live action series. I thought that she was fun. Felt like my grandma all over again. Having her there, and I thought that she was a great addition to the cast. I thought that the smart thing to do was to be dividing Cobra with his, well, actually I might as well get a little bit of it, because you might as well know they do divide Cobra's jobs. So of course we all know about him being part of the CIA, and then being the social worker. And I think that was a nice idea for them to split the character into two, kind of like how they did it with Mulan with Li Shang, and they split his character being a general and a soldier, and and Mulan's love interest. I think that it was a nice idea that they split it into two for this one. The social worker on here is Mrs. Kikoa, which she's played by Tia Kariri, which she was the original voice for Nani in the animated movie, and I thought she was great. There's a lot of things that I feel like they did really, really well. And another person that they brought back was Jason Scott Lee, playing the manager over at the Luau restaurant, in which he voiced David in the original animated movie. And I thought, for the small amount of screen time that he had, I thought he was great as well. This movie to me felt natural. It felt right. It felt real. No fakes. The chemistry amongst these characters was genuine. Very, very genuine. There wasn't any forced acting. And I like that it didn't feel like anything was forced. I think what makes this one work too is the fact that the music is back. Hawaiian Roller Coaster is back. They had the opening song from the original, and they brought it back. Some of the original singers came back too, which is amazing. I thought they all did incredible. I'm glad that they also tied in Elvis Presley with this one again. I thought that they brought back some of the original songs as well. Like I know that they had Hound Dog. They brought Heartbreak Hotel. They brought Suspicious Minds. They brought Devil in Disguise. I'm glad that they brought those songs back. I forgot what that other song was called. The one during the first time that they what is it called? The first montage that they have when Lilo's trying to teach Stitch how to behave. I forgot what that song is called. It's also an Elvis song. They brought back the Elvis songs that made it in the original one, and I'm glad that they did. They brought back the gags. The plot felt the same in the right way possible. They added some stuff. The ending is actually different compared to the original. To a degree, they did change Jumba's character to be more the main antagonist. That was kind of already known, but I think that it's a different change that I feel like it actually works. I'm glad with the way how this all went out. It turned out to be one of my favorite live action remakes. To me, it's a top 3 favorite. And I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. I recommend this for families to go see. This is definitely a summer movie. This is definitely something that I think that you guys are all going to enjoy greatly. It was a total blast. If you watched the original Lilo and Stitch in theaters, or you grew up watching it on VHS or on DVD like myself, you are going to absolutely love it. I would say watch it again before you see this one to appreciate it even more than what you'd expect. Because this movie, to me, well done right off the bat. But especially if you remember specifically certain details, I think you're gonna enjoy it even more. This is one of those ones where it's like I want to compare, but for the right reasons. I wasn't scared about if this movie was gonna be terrible. I actually felt like this was gonna be good. I felt a little nervous when the trailer was very, very closely released to the release date of the movie. But you know what? I'm so glad on how it turned out. No doubt that it was done correctly. I had no doubt about it. I was like, you know what, they're gonna do this one right. I have a feeling, and they did, and I'm very happy that they did. So I will not worry about this one being a flop. I think this one is going to be more of a success than anything. It's going to be more profitable, and it's going to be more of a success compared to Snow White, in my opinion. Because Snow White had its good moments, but it didn't work the way how I was hoping that it would. This one was so much better that I couldn't believe it. So overall, I would give this movie, I can't find a reason to not give it a 10 out of 10, actually. I actually will give this one a 10 out of 10. I had the time of my life with this one. Not gonna lie. I had the time of my life. I hope you guys do get to see Lilo and Stitch opening weekend and watch it again during our summer. This movie is a summer movie. It's a feel-good movie. It does have its drama moments. Because of the Child Protective Services situation, but it is a great movie. It is a fun movie for families, for kids to enjoy, for the adults to enjoy, for Disney fans to enjoy, for Stitch fans to enjoy. I 100% recommend both the original animated movie from 2003 and this live action remake. And if you watch it together, like if you watch it, you know, one after the other, it is such a great nostalgia trip. It was such a fun, exciting time. I cannot wait to do the revisited reaction of this one when it comes out on the Disney Plus later on. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my non-spoiler review for Lilo and Stitch's live action remake. If you guys want to see this movie, you guys can get your tickets right now in the link in the description below. It is in theaters now. Please go see it. It's so fun. If you guys want to see more reactions like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I've got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, aka X, my Discord server, with the links in the description below. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe. I will see you all in the next videos. And if you guys want to see my reaction for the animated Lilo and Stitch movie, you guys can check it out at the end right here. And it'll also be in the link in the description below. All right. See you guys.